Hey everyone. I think I should be live, right? I'm gonna make an announcement in Discord and then we can get started. How's everyone doing? Okay, I think that's right. Let's see. There we go. -1, hello, how's it going? Tazy, what's up? Space Dragon, how's it going? Islander, how you doing? Good to see you. Oh my, looking goofy. Yeah, this is the armature that I made for the skeleton. I'm just using it as a proxy to pose out because I want to make sure that the standing pose looks right. So I'm going to use this proxy model here. That's what I call it. To check, basically. Because these proportions are all based off of the bones, the diagram that I was working from. So the proportions should be right. It's just I need the pose to look right. And yeah, he looks like a Muppet in Z-sphere form. Oh, I don't want to scale the... There we go. Furious, how's it going? Space Dragon, I don't know if I'll actually get to modeling today. I will... Yeah, I'm not sure. We might see some modeling on... I don't know. I'm mostly just going to be working on the concept still, because I got to add the fuzz to everything. I think that looks better because his elbows are tucked up. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna get to some modeling. I think once we -1, thanks for the donation. At this point, this is normal. Thanks so much. Yeah, once we have a solid concept, the modeling will go by pretty quick. It's just getting this to work right. So I think that pose looks pretty good. So I'm gonna just... You can see this is where me and Furious were checking the scale of stuff. I don't know if I have that guy in here. I have that guy in here. The human scale guy. That's Furious's scale mock-up here. So this guy, maybe I can just cut that guy out. That's what I'll do. I'll cut this guy out of here. So this is how big he is compared to a human. Oh, there's my guy. Doesn't really matter. They're both the same size anyway. Let me actually save this into a folder, because I'll basically recreate this sheet here with the scale, and I'll probably use that as its secondary reference when I'm modeling to make sure everything's the proper size. So this is part of it. This is part of it. It's in here. Sorry if I'm a little bit like sluggish today also. So I just got in from a trip yesterday, pretty late in the night. So I'm a little bit more tired than I usually am. Yeah, he's kind of a big boy. Let's see. I'm gonna pop out the chat so I can read it better. Yeah, I was gone for about a week, traveling and working. And then I came back last night on a later flight, and the flight was like pretty turbulent. And the landing, I don't think I've ever been on a flight with like a rougher landing than the one last night. It was kind of scary, honestly. There was like this big bang when we hit the ground. And then have you guys ever been in a car with somebody and they're like not paying attention to the stoplights or something, and like they suddenly see that the light turned red and then they just slam the brakes, and like you have that like rushing slow down that kind of like throws you forward? That's kind of how my flight landed. I'm gonna make the canvas temporarily bigger. I'll probably consolidate this later, but for right now it's gonna be bigger. Yeah, it wasn't. And like, I'm a little bit nervous flying anyway. Like, I'm not deathly afraid of it or anything, but it does make me like uneasy. So I don't like feeling any. I mean, I guess nobody does, but these were particularly rough ones. But I'm back. I'm safe. Ready to start some concept art. I'm going to scale this up so that the skull is the right length. And then we'll bring him over here. Apply. You will call this side view. Side view standing. Pick a color. There we go. Take this down a little bit in opacity so we can sketch on top. Where is my side view? That's my open mouth side view. There's my closed. I think I'll just stick with the open mouth one then. Duplicate that. Bring this down here. I'm gonna reuse my head sketch. We'll repose some stuff here. That way I don't have to like redraw a ton of stuff. Sharky, how's it going? I'm going to leave the mouth slightly open on this one. That way I don't have to fiddle with the jaws. Let's see. Probably going to have to redraw most of the neck and the legs. I think what I'll do is I'll put the torso where it needs to be. Let's see. Yeah, I'll put the torso where it needs to be. Like we'll swing this down. Into its little spot here. And then I'll have to redraw the legs and all that stuff. We actually won't have to redraw a lot of the neck, but we'll have to repose some of it, but it's not too bad. Oh, I can't remember what pencil I was using. There we go. I am, but Sharky, I am going to be making it with spread wings, but I would like to see how, I want to visualize how it looks folded, because I need to make sure that looks good as well. And there is like some discussion about how these wings actually fold, right? Like, do we want it to fold like I guess more like a traditional wing fold, right? Where like you have the wing membrane kind of like, I guess, more relaxed but still visible, suspended between the arm bones? Or do we want it to fold and be completely merged into the... You see that in like Prehistoric Planet. I think they did that with a lot of the pterosaurs, where you can't see the wing membrane when the wing is folded up. They kind of treat it like a bat wing. Like when a bat wing is folded up, you can't really see the membrane. So there's two approaches there. I'm not sure what the science or like what the theories say about that. But those are two variations that I think look pretty plausible. I personally I like seeing the wing membrane, like kind of like definitely like not just like hanging limply, right? It's got to have some elasticity to it. But I do like seeing a bit of the wing membrane. The bat-like wing is cool, but I feel like I don't know. I guess we could try it. It doesn't hurt to try. Savitor. Hi, this is my first time on your stream, and I love dinosaur games. I'm from Russia, and I'm very proud of you for working so hard on this game. I'm looking forward to its release. Oh, thank you. Thanks a lot. Space Dragon, how does it fly with such a big head? Yeah, good question. They're very lightly built animals. There's not there like it's a big head, but there's not a lot of bone in the head. Like a lot of it's air pockets, right? Aerodynamics is like, or what would you call it? The study of flying things, right? I think it's more about the wings and the properties they have, how easily they can generate lift. And I think by pterosaur standards, these guys here are more primitive, right? Because you get the Asdarchids coming in, and they kind of optimize the body plan even further. Because the thing that is heavy about these, right, is these teeth are very heavy. The keratin and the bone in the head and all that stuff, there's lots of air pockets here, right? But the teeth are very heavy. So in later pterosaurs, you see that they lose their teeth. You also see I guess their heads still are pretty large. Like if you look at a Quetzalcoatlus or something, their heads are still pretty big. Yeah, I lost my train of thought there. We were talking about how this thing could fly. Oh, they have they also have air sacs in their wings. Like you have, where are they? That's why I indicated these shapes here. I want to make sure I make this red. So like they have their bone, right? The bone, and then they have the muscle on top, of course. But then they have these air sacs in the wing here. Not only does it make them lighter, but it gives the wing more of an airfoil shape. So instead of the wing being like bone, right? Like if you were to cross section it, you have their bone, you have their muscle, and then you have the wing membrane like very thin here. That airspace makes the wing more aerodynamic like this. So if you would compare the cross section of a pterosaur's wing to like an airplane wing looks like something like this. It's much more similar. So the lift that they're getting from their wings is pretty good. And their wings are like, I think they were probably much more advanced than even wings in bats and birds today, because they have control over their entire wing surface. like there's fibers throughout all this wing surface here that would have allowed them to control the shape and the size, basically. But, you know, keep in mind, like, pterosaurs are interesting to me. I love them, but they're not, I'm not a pterosaur expert or anything. I would definitely, there's quite a few good books on pterosaurs. There's quite a few cool documentaries on pterosaurs. So I would go, if you're interested in how they actually flew and like their anatomy and all that stuff, I would go take a look at those. Because I'm remembering as much as I can, but there's a lot of stuff that I might be getting wrong. That's one of those things, like being a paleo artist. Like I wouldn't say I specialize in any particular type of dinosaur or anything. I kind of want to do it all, but if you're doing it all, you kind of, it's hard to know every little fact about every single dinosaur or ancient reptile group, you know? So I do my best. Tessie, thank you. Yeah, I had a pretty busy week, but I did get to catch up with some friends back in Denver. That's where I traveled to. Was able to catch up with some friends. What did I do? We had a lot of good food. Probably a little too much good food. I'm gonna have to like jump back on a diet now, probably. Had some really cool conversations with my coworkers about art and design and gaming and all this stuff. Oh, I had my second ever D&D campaign, or like D&D experience. A friend of mine and his group of what would you call it, D&Ders. So that was fun. Space Dragon, don't worry. If you want to just type it out however you want, and I'm sure I'm not going to judge you for not having a perfectly structured sentence, you know. I screw up my English all the time. Yeah, Tazy, it was really fun. It wasn't necessarily like vacation. It was like a work trip, right, for the studio that I work for. Um, but I had some time in the evenings to hang out with friends and do stuff. So that's kind of what we did. Titanoboa. I'm not sure where Titanoboa is on the order of priority, so I wouldn't be able to tell you when that would get started. It's there. We have a lot of dinos. Like I was looking at the roster. There's a lot. So we would have to be able to dedicate more time to it to like get all of those out quicker, or it's just, it's going to take a while. So we appreciate your patience. But it's cool that it's cool that you're looking forward to Titanoboa. Is Titanoboa like one of your favorites, or you're just curious about that one? Second favorite? Okay. What's your number one favorite? Sneaks. Do the dinos have a regular health bar, or does each body part have its own health bar? That would be probably a furious question. I don't know. I saw on the UI that there's like zones, right? In the UI, like I think I saw it on the lower right corner where it looked like they're like hit zones. But maybe that's just for like to indicate what part of your body is damaged, not necessarily like separate health bars for every part of your body. But I'll let Furious, if he's still in here, tell you. Or maybe you can go to one of his streams and ask. Mastodonsaurus, okay. Yeah, big amphibian, right? Temnospondyle. You know what's really scary about temnospondals is their teeth. If you've ever looked at their teeth, they have multiple rows. They have these big fangs that come down from the roof of their mouth and in the inside of their mouth. Pretty nasty looking. Like I think their teeth look way scarier than like a crocodile's, in my opinion. Because they're very like I feel like lots of tiny, very sharp teeth look like they would hurt much more than like big chomper teeth. I don't know. It's just the visual that I react to, I guess. Bramblebeard. Can't watch too long. Just checking in. I main Terra in the Isle, so this is extra cool to me. Look forward to seeing the progress. Thank you. Fabio, your work is awesome. Thanks. Snakes, yeah, no problem. Snake Master, can I ask you how you get ideas for dino skins? Also, is Trophy gonna have similar design to that in Walking with Dinosaurs? By the way, I can't wait to see your designing Spino and and Aroplura. Let's see. How do I get inspiration for dino skins? It really depends. Depends on the approach. Like sometimes I'll just start with like a color, I'll think of like a color palette. Like maybe I want it to be an analogous color palette, right? So like maybe I don't have color on my brush. Like maybe I want like a color palette that uses a certain number of colors, right? Maybe I want these 3 colors. Then I'll use that as like a base, and I'll just kind of like play around. It's kind of like a happy accident kind of workflow sometimes, where like I just kind of play around until something happens that gives me an idea. Sometimes it's more like reference based, so I'll actually go and I'll try to find really cool animals that have really interesting skin colorations to use as inspiration. I try to find more obscure stuff, as obscure as I possibly can, so that way I have a better chance of making my dinosaur feel more unique. And the thing about it is that I'm looking at nature for inspiration, right? Like I don't know, let me see. I'll do an example. This is I'm just pulling stuff from the internet right now. Something interesting. Ooh. Give me 1 sec. I gotta pull chat back up. Like, did this pop up? My canvas is way too big. Like this? Like this is cool. This fish color. But the thing I don't want to do is I call it copy pasting. So like I personally don't really like when documentaries or stuff like that, they take the reference and they just like copy and paste it onto the dino. So like they'll do exactly what they see. So like they'll put the eye stripe here, they'll put the orange on the body. They'll basically paste the fish design onto the body, you know. I don't like when they do that. So what I want to do is I want to make it I want to use the colors, because these colors look really cool and they work together, but I want to kind of distribute them differently on the body of the animal. So I might do something like, instead of putting the stripes on the eye, like maybe we do the stripes. Where is my brush? Maybe we do the stripes on the tips of the wings or something. Like it doesn't have to be one-to-one with where everything's placed. So like maybe there's stripes on the wings, right? Maybe maybe this orange color is like mainly on the face instead of like the body. And then maybe the body is more like brown. So we draw attention to the head, right? And then instead of these like, I see there's blue. I really like the blue. So maybe we use the blue to pop a certain area somewhere. I'm totally coloring out of the lines. So, but it's just an example. Maybe we add more brighter yellow. Maybe the blue maybe is on the or maybe it's just on the edge, because I do like how this is just on the edge. Maybe that's a cool idea. You just put it on the edge of the crest here. Something like that. Maybe his eye's blue too, so we can draw some attention back to the eye. Let me take this. And then let's see what else we can utilize. There's this cool green here. Maybe that's around the eye too. And the thing is, you don't have to utilize everything. If you don't want the green, you don't have to use the green. But, you know, I won't go into like the whole process, right? But like, you can kind of see how I'm using the inspiration, but I'm not like taking it one-to-one, you know? Maybe we can use some black on the beak. Like this spotted area here that's like kind of scaly looking. It looks cool. I like the idea of spots, but maybe not. This is too scaly looking. So maybe instead you have like, you have a dark area here. And we actually make it more like lizard spots instead of like fish scale spots. I don't know. I don't know if this looks good, you know? It's just, I'm just playing around. But, and you would do like a lot of these. You would do like, I mean, Yaroslav, who's one of our skin designers, right? He does a crazy amount of them. And then we pick the best ones. He does like sheets of them, right? I would do maybe like 6. In my experience, like too many decisions can, when you're presenting stuff with too many decisions to someone for review, especially like a director, art director, too many options can actually be a bad thing, because it can like, there's this thing called decision fatigue. You probably experienced this where you go to like a restaurant, right? And you look at their menu and they just have so many options. And you're just like lost in it, right? Like you're like, I don't really know what I want. Like, I need help. Give me a recommendation. You know, that kind of thing. That happens to people when they're reviewing artwork too. So it's better to, in my opinion, it's better to give like fewer options, but just make sure they're really interesting and solid, and let them pick from those, you know, instead of giving them like 25 designs that they have to like sort through and gauge, you know. But it depends. It also depends on maybe the director likes that stuff. Maybe that's what they want. You know, you have to kind of gauge. But yeah, that's how I would approach it. I hope that answered your question. I kind of went into it a little too far, but that's how I would do it. And maybe we can elaborate on this. Don't take this as like it's not the official Tropeo skin or anything like that. It's just an idea. So we have to try it. We have to try a lot more before we settle on anything. But yeah, there's that example. Will tribals be able to craft armor based on animals they kill? If so, you kill a Purosaurus, could you craft thick armor based on that kill? That's a really cool idea. I'm not sure if that's exactly how it works. Macedonsaurus is 20 feet long. Yeah, it's huge, right? I think that's going to be really fun. Epic Wage. Nice 3D model. We haven't gotten to 3D yet, but thank you. Don't forget about the Tenno. What is the Tenno? UCJ Gaming. Oh hey, I think I've seen your videos. Yeah, I recognize your icon. Thank you for being here. Thanks for taking a look. Snakeskin blue discus fish has a cool pattern. Discus fish have really cool patterns, yeah. Dinosaur 55. I get this a lot with B.O.B. I bought it and I don't know what skin to pick with all the patterns. Yeah. Oh, you mean like the decision fatigue? Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many patterns they have. Do they have a ton? I would imagine they have a lot because they've been around for a while, right? So I hear you. Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon, like because you would think the more options you give somebody, the more they would appreciate it. Like, and I'm not saying they don't, but it can often make their job a little bit harder. And what is also important to think about when you're an artist, concept artist, is you don't want to make people's lives harder by giving them like a ton of like stuff they have to sort through, right? Like you want to present them solid ideas that look cool, that fit with the project, and then maybe like five or six of them. I think 6 is a really good number. 3, 6, 9, possibly 9. But I wouldn't go much higher than 6, to be honest. You can always do multiple rounds of them, right? Like it's not the be all end all. Like you can do a round of 6 and then, pick from there. And then like 3 months later, you do another round of 6 to update it. And then, you can keep going with stuff like that. Yeah, Snake Master, no problem. Space Dragon, just fighting something in the aisle. No, I hope you won. Save the skin concept. For sure. Yeah, we'll save that one. I actually did like it, right? Like it doesn't look. It needs some work, right? Because it's just a scribble. But It looks fun. I think it has potential. So we'll save that for as a future idea. I think the UCJ, I think the skin looks good. Thank you. If you pay the Patreon pack, that says you get the demo. That says you get the demo is playable as soon as you pay. Is that what it says? I would reach out and clarify with somebody. Because I'm not sure about that information. I don't run the Patreon. I think that's Islanders area, right? So I would double check with him. Sickmaster. So there's going to be counter shading like in sharks. Yeah, I usually bake into I like counter shading. I mean, you see it happen so often in nature. Sometimes there's examples of like counter shading. I can't remember what the actual term is. It's where the animal has a dark underbelly and a light back. There are examples of that as well. But I think it's much more common to see the other way, you know. So I kind of do that a lot because I feel like it looks natural. Sometimes I break away from that convention. Could you make a skin based off a marine iguana? Yeah, probably. Probably find a way to try that. UCJ, I'm honored. Thank you. I'm always looking around EOE when I have time. Really looking forward to it, and seeing the progress is great. Yeah, no worries. I really appreciate the way you cover the game. It's very, I think it's really informative. Yeah, I just like the way you present all your videos. They're really cool. Okay, let's see. It's kind of hard to see this, right? Like, the way that this membrane behaves behind the wing finger here. I'm gonna use this curve because I suck at drawing really smooth curves. I think it would kind of come in here and then it would like loop around. It's very hard to make this look properly like 3-dimensional and 2D. So we might have to wait till like the actual 3D concept to be able to visualize how this looks, but I'll do my best here. Hey Gizmo, how's it going? Tazy, do you have the Arano baby? I do. We've actually been working on that. I gotta export that stuff for Furious so he can get that into the game. I tried to export it, and for some reason there was like nothing inside the export. So I gotta recheck that. But yeah, there we do have a baby Arano. Snakes, what are you using for this? Like the app? It's called Clip Studio Paint. It is, I think it used to be called like Manga Studio or something like that. Lots of comic book artists use it. I would really recommend it if you're interested in it. I think it's a good competitor to Photoshop. It does a lot of what Photoshop can do, but you don't have to pay the like monthly fee for it. It's a one and done purchase, and it's also not very expensive. It's like $60, I think. I prefer the way the brushes work in here versus Photoshop, to be honest. They feel very natural. I started I went to school for art and design, and I learned a lot about it was all traditional, you know. So I'm very comfortable. I want my inks and all that stuff to feel like real ink and all that. So I like how this behaves because it gets very smudgy. Like you can bleed stuff together, you can blend stuff together. It'll smudge, it'll like drag the color. It feels very, very good. Daisy, can you show us? Can I show you the baby Arano? Let me see. Let me see. I have a concept of it. I don't know if my hard drive isn't attached to my computer right now, but I can show you the concept art. It's the same as the concept art basically, but give me a second. Let's see. Yeah, here he is. So he looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it so? Female. He looks like this, but smaller, I believe. Bigger eyes. This is the growth series that we did for the so I could use as a template in Blender. Yeah. Yeah, the spine gets gradually bigger as they grow. And then also, if it's a male Arano, this little bump here gets bigger slowly. The female doesn't have as big of one, and her sail's shorter. The colors are also different, stuff like that. Why does the Oreno have a second smaller hump in the game? I'm not sure what you mean. What we're talking about this part? Yeah, I don't know. It's if there's a second smaller hump in the game, that's, I don't know, maybe the mesh is being kind of distorted by animations. There shouldn't be like a totally secondary structure, you know, like it's a sail. So I mean, it's based on the skeletal data we have, so there is like a little dip there, but it shouldn't be like super pronounced or anything. So I don't know. Maybe that's something visual that we gotta check in on. Make sure that the mesh is deforming properly around the hip area, so it doesn't create that illusion. Okay, so we have the side view. I'm wondering how much I should do to indicate the fur on this guy. Side view is there. Then we could duplicate this. Let me see. This is... I need to label all this stuff because I'm already getting lost. Put this up here. So we will... I'll replace one of these graphics here with the side view concept. So that way it looks consistent. So that's a human. Put that up there. This is a logo. Okay. Okay. Keep aspect ratio. Is there going to be any difference between male and female in Tropeo? Yes. At least I would imagine. We can do a lot of stuff with these guys. We can reduce the... Sorry, my mic is falling down. We can reduce the size of the crest. That's probably the most obvious, like, sexually dimorphic thing to, like, manipulate is the crest. So we can do that. I think that's probably the main thing that I'm going to adjust. But we can see what else we can come up with. Make sure there's a fill under here. Okay. Should probably just get the... Did I have that? It's baked down there. I need this character here. Because this is the character that Bohuslav did for the game, so might as well use him. We'll make this concept sheet look nice and clean and professional. I'm kind of, I'm doing this, right? But like, I'm kind of pretending like, I'm doing it for somebody else. So if you're a concept artist, if you're in the chat and you're interested in doing this kind of stuff and you're trying to show like how good you are at concept art, right? Like how helpful your art can be to a modeler or to another designer or something. You kind of want to think about how the information they would need in order to model the creature or the dinosaur or whatever it is. So it's kind of weird because even though I'm the one who's going to be modeling it, right? I'm trying to think it like if I wasn't modeling it, what information would that person need? So I'm giving them lots of stuff. Because when I model, I like to have lots of stuff. I want to see the top view. I want to see the side view. I want to see what does it look like when it's standing. If the posture changes a ton. Anything that can help me get a better result, I want that on my sheet. Scale, super important. That because this can be used by the modeler to export it at the right size, right? Color maybe not so much for a modeler because unless they're also texturing. Sometimes that's the case in smaller studios. Will it be possible to play in first-person view with humans? I'm not sure. Is it not in first-person view? I guess it wouldn't be if you're asking, right? I personally, I don't know. It's hard to say. Sometimes I like playing in third person. Sometimes I like first person. To me, it kind of depends on how cool the gear is, right? Like how cool my character looks. Because if I'm working if I'm spending a lot of time crafting like cool gear, I want to see it on my character. I don't want to just like see my hands, you know. I think that was actually the complaint that a lot of people had about that Avatar game, where they couldn't see their character. I need to export a PNG of this guy. That way I don't have to select all this stuff. But we'll do that as placeholder. Okay. So what do I need now? I could just clean stuff up. I need to show his fur. Put this over here. Oh, I know why I had the logo. I put the logo in and then I deleted it and I'm putting it back in. So we'll just make this look like a super official character sheet. Put the logo there. It doesn't have to stay there. You can put it... I'm usually putting it someplace in the corners. But we could do something like... You could do it like a watermark. Like over the whole thing. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. But I'll put I'll put the logo in the corner here for the time being. Over here. Job application tips with RAR. Yeah, I mean, if it helps you, definitely up for giving any tips I have. It's just like the mentality that I have when I'm doing this, because I do this a lot for myself too. Like, I'm designing stuff all the time. So I try to think about what a modeler would need and then do that. It's kind of redundant because I'm the one doing the modeling, but it does show people that you're capable of thinking that way, right? Let's do let me do some fuzz study. Keep that in there because I need to double check that. I'm trying to like simplify my layer stack just to see if there's anything I can get rid of. I don't know what that is. Probably a blank layer, I hope. These all might be blank. Sometimes I make new layers and I forget that I made them, and they just hang out in the layer stack forever. Let me save this. Yeah, okay. We'll do some ideation here about the fur. The pycnofibers. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back, okay? Okay, sorry. Had to wrangle the doggos. They were causing a problem outside. Okay. Okay. So, generally, I am going to... I know there's going to be a lot of fuzz on the body. I'm going to lighten this sketch up just a little bit. I have a lot of fuzz on the body. The wings will be... like the wing membrane will be less fuzzy. Kind of curious, how much drawing and doing concept art, in your opinion, can you learn by yourself? Like totally by yourself? You can learn a lot, as long as you're willing to go out and seek the info. I mean, of course, YouTube is a huge resource. There's lots of like books that you can get on concept art, people talking about concept art, forums, groups on Discord that you can join, streams like this that you can watch. You can learn quite a bit. Like, if you're considering going to college or like an art school, I don't know if you are. But I would consider doing like a more concentrated like certificate course or something rather than going to like a full scale art college. Simply because they're ridiculously expensive, at least in the US. You can go to conventions, talk to artists at conventions. Go to lectures at conventions, CTN, Lightbox Expo, stuff like that. Yeah, you can learn a ton. You don't have to go to like a formal art school or anything to be a concept artist. You can learn from the internet. It's just about what you're learning, making sure you're not like giving yourself bad habits, being consistent in your practice, consistency and concentration. So when you're practicing, make sure that you're like actually devoted, like seriously practicing, like not like you don't have to practice for like a whole day or anything. Maybe like a few concentrated hours a day on a particular subject. Depending on what you want to do, like are you more interested in characters? Are you more interested in creatures? Are you an environment person? You know, all that stuff. Characters and creatures, you're going to want to learn your anatomy very well. So you need to get all those anatomy books. You need to draw lots of animals, go to the zoo a lot, go to the museums a lot if there's one near you. All that stuff. So your foundation is basically what you want to worry about, making sure that's all solid. If you're an environment artist, perspective is probably going to be your focus. I will say learning perspective, learning perspective is very hard because there's a certain way that concept artists and industrial designers, industrial design, there's a certain way they learn how to do it that's very useful, but it's very complicated, and you really need someone who knows how those methods work to show you how. Because it's very hard. Like, I have books that talk about perspective, but it's very hard to understand or at least for me, I don't know, maybe it would be easier for you. It's very hard to understand some of the methods that they use from just a book. It's way easier to see like somebody demo and then do that, like kind of mimic and learn that way than it is to just read from a book and hope that you're understanding it properly and doing it properly, So I would say that's probably one thing where you would want to find a course online somewhere to learn perspective. Because it can get pretty complicated. There's a perspective course where I had to draw my living room, but I had to do it to scale, right? In perspective, especially when you're drawing, you have to always consider how big is a person in relation to whatever you're doing. So I literally had to measure visually. They taught me how to measure say I wanted to draw my couch over here someplace, right? I mean, I could freehand it and eyeball it, but I need to absolutely make sure that it's the right height. How do you do that? You'd have to consider how tall a person is, or some unit of measurement. In this case, you'd be using a person because it's just easy, 6 feet tall. You'd have to project this height into the distance using your perspective grid and double check that this couch is actually the right height. And you would do that for everything. So you build your couch, you build your coffee table, your stairs, whatever, are over here, kitchen, window, whatever. You have to measure all of these elements to make sure that you're considering the right heights all over the place. And it's such a important skill to have, but you need to be shown how to do that well. And you're, this might be boring, right? But you need to do this, it's because it's just the living room, but this also applies to anything. Like you could do this for a dinosaur. You can have a little guy. How big is your dinosaur? You need to measure out in perspective how that is going to work. Organic things can be a little bit harder. But you got to make sure that this is the right scale. This could be like a creature, it could be a spaceship, it could be whatever you want. But considering this and making sure it's properly set in perspective is like the point of it. I mean, so yeah, I hope that answers your question. The basic answer is yes, you can learn everything you need to learn on your own. There are some things that are harder though. I mean, and to be honest with you, like I went to a 4-year college, and there's stuff that I didn't learn. Like I didn't learn that perspective stuff. All that stuff that I was talking about just now, I didn't learn that from college. I had to get an additional course after college that I paid for to improve my perspective skills because I knew they were weak. Color theory, something I did not learn in college. I had to learn that on my own by reading a ton of books, practicing a lot with paint. That was probably one of the bigger struggles I had, is color theory. What else? They really focused in on anatomy when I was going to school, so that wasn't a super big problem. Like they were really very good at teaching us anatomy. What else? Graphic design, they were really good at teaching, although that wasn't necessarily my discipline. So I didn't really like take advantage of that. Although I probably should have, because there's a lot of times where I got to do graphic designy stuff and I don't feel like I'm very good at it. Trying to think. What else? That's okay, Snake Master. I don't know. It might be helpful for somebody else later who's considering. I've had people ask me about that stuff in here before, so I figure I might help somebody later. I mean, and even if I'm sure it's the case in other areas too, like you might be going to school for like a totally different thing that's not even art related at all, but there's still stuff that they probably won't teach you that they probably should have. So it's about identifying like where those areas are and then learning where you can find that information. That's probably a scenario that happens in a lot of different places. I'm not sure how much fluff I want to add. I think it's probably better to stay closer to the skin. I don't want not like a super puffy guy, right? Probably give him a little bit more down here, or we could leave this bare, like just skin. I've done that before on a pterosaur though, so I was trying to do it a little bit different. But I do like when there's like patches of exposed skin, where you could do some cool like stuff for like display. Like they could be like it could be like a different color. Someone wants to say hi. Got a little visitor. The dog was drawing it all along. She wants my attention for something. She's barking at me now. Okay, she's being really demanding. I might have to let her out. That's probably what she wants. She spent the whole week because I'm not here, right? So she spent the whole week with a little bit more freedom than she usually gets, because she's usually in here in my office with me. But she was able to roam the whole house basically when I was gone, get into all kinds of mischief. And now she doesn't like that she has to stay in my office again. Demanding the tech demo. She got her request. So I got a basic idea of where this fuzz is going to go. Kind of using it to help with the shading of this stuff too. I wonder if there's some areas that I could exaggerate just a little bit. Just to give it some more interest in the silhouette. Like we could try something like giving him a little bit of a crest sort of thing, not super big, like a not like a harpy eagle or something, but just a little bit of like more clumpy sort of fuzz up here that can create this sort of break in the silhouette. We could do maybe some other fuzz down here that like breaks the silhouette just a little bit. Maybe a little bit more here too. I'm basically just like thinking of where the fibers would be dense, like more dense, and seeing if I can exaggerate the silhouette in that area just for some interest on the outside. I like fuzzy tropeo. Will it be hard in 3D? Feathers tend to look unnatural in most dinos and Path of Titans. You know, I've noticed that. And I am hoping that we can figure out a solution that looks more natural. So that's kind of what I'm banking on. But we'll have to see. Because there are games out there that do fur fairly well. And I think that's where we're going to be pulling inspiration from, you know. That's a good question, Tazy. I don't know. See, the other option we have, instead of using like feather cards on the model, right? Because what happens in 3D is you have a feather, you have a piece of geometry, right? Usually a card, and then on that card you have a texture, which is the fur, and then these areas outside of the fur are transparent, so it looks like fibers. When you stack these together, multiples, it looks like fibers, right? If we can't get that to look natural or good, right? The other option we have is just to sculpt the feather detail in to the model itself. But I feel like that looks even more unnatural, because you're like trying to fake fur, even though it's not really fur. It's like you're just putting a fur texture on the 3D model, you know. So there's advantages and disadvantages to both. You have to be very careful how you craft this to get the effect like this. You have to be very careful with your placement. Texture needs to be look very good and convincing. As far as performance goes, I'm not sure about that. That would be more of a Furious question. I don't think there would be a ton of these feather cards. Like they're important in areas like this, because this breaks the silhouette. So you need something to come off of the surface, right? That's where you need the cards more. So maybe we have to do some sort of combination of feather cards and sculpted detail. I'm not sure. That's going to be a challenge for the Tropeo. And hopefully once we get a good solution, we can apply that to multiple other dinos. But the Tropeo is going to be some interesting experimentation, I think, to figure out how we do that. -1, thank you. But like I said, we'll do our best. I would really, I'm willing to put in the effort to try and get this to look as good as possible, you know. There are hurdles for sure, but it might be, you know, I think it will be worth it, right? To have a fuzzy looking, natural looking pterosaur in our game. And who knows, like maybe there's an option, right? Or people who don't want to play with a fuzzy guy, maybe they can turn the fur off. I don't know if that's possible. I know some people are very adverse to feather fuzzy dinos. I think they look cool though. I mean, I was a little adverse to feathers on dinos and fur on pterosaurs too when I first saw them, you know. But it kind of took a while for them to kind of settle in, and now I really think they add a lot. I mean, they're on the fossils, so it's kind of undeniable that that's how they were. The unfeathered and fuzzless versions are more like what people want them to be because they just like, I think they associate them with Jurassic Park so much. So So I like that, you know. This. What do you guys think? We could also do something like this, right? Like, because I still like this idea. I did it on my Enhanguera model, and I think it's cool. Like to leave, because we could leave parts of the skin exposed, right? Like this area. This could be exposed skin. And this could be like a display area. Maybe they can, I don't know, it's kind of a crazy idea, but maybe they can inflate this for a display or something. Or maybe it's just brightly colored. We can have that like this. There's quite a few, I think, seabirds that have like exposed patches of skin on their face and stuff. So it might not be out of the question. We could do something like that, or we could do a fully exposed head, or like a partially exposed head. Like maybe I need to merge. Let me merge these two layers really quick. Kind of like a cassowary or like an emu or something. Like the head is exposed and is just skin. That would be more kind of like, I don't know. That's probably more like vulture-y. So I don't know if that makes sense for like a fisher, like a seabird type animal. Because they're not scavengers, they fish. Maybe they do scavenge on occasion, but it wouldn't be their main mode of acquiring food. We could do something like that has like an interesting shape on the neck, or we could completely like maybe make that shorter. It's too long. I beg that Smog lets Tropeo pick up humans and fly off of them. Do you think it would be you think it's big enough? I mean, it's big, but it seems kind of small still to pick up the weight of something like this. I mean, there's like, you know, there's artistic license and like suspension of disbelief also, so might be fun. Yeah, I don't know where Furious sees that borderline, you know. You have to ask him. So we could do something like that. That might be cool too. And then just have this be like rough, maybe like just, yeah, scaly skin here. I mean, there are I think there's some storks and stuff that have this sort of thing going, but they are kind of, I think they do scavenge a bit. Because the thing about this adaptation is it lets sun hit the skin and it kills bacteria. So if you're stuffing your head into like nasty decomposing carcasses all the time, you don't want that sort of stuff getting on your feathers and then causing like health issues. So that's why vultures tend to have bald heads. But who knows, you know? Just doing a bit of cleanup. I think for me, this is cool. I'll present this to the guys and see how they like it. But for me, I think this is still pretty solid. So I'll kind of just like default to this, but then I'll also show the alternatives, you know. So we'll see. Okay, that's yeah, I don't think we're gonna have like human infants or anything like that in the game. I don't think is they even doing that allowed in games? So I rarely see like children in the game. I don't think that's a regular thing. Yeah, that's basically the issue, right? Like you wouldn't have a kid and walking around on the street in GTA or something because they could get like ran over, and you don't want to see that stuff. That's too much. I kind of assumed that's why they do that, but I wasn't sure. And like, I don't know, how fun, I'm thinking like how fun would it be to be like a little kid in a game, you know? And you have to wait to grow up to like use your weapons and stuff, craft things. I don't think it would be as fun as a dino. Dino is pretty capable from the start, right? You got to go to school in EOE. Echoes of Extinction preschool. Leo, hello. How's it going? Oh, did I say your name wrong? Everyone's calling you Len. My bad. Okay. Let's do a little bit of detailing. Because I would like this to be like a fairly nice drawing. Like, I don't want it to be super sloppy or anything. So let's do some detailing on the crest here. It'll help. Anyway. Let's find some reference of like a keratin crest. Or just like a beak. I think like a stork beak would be cool. A marabou stork. Marabou storks are really cool. Here, I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. This is really awesome to me. This guy's cool too. Yeah, this will be cool. I just gotta find... These guys are awesome too. Shoebills. Okay. I got some ideas. We'll just start doing some keratin detail in here. I'm not necessarily, like, I'm not pulling the structure of the stork bill. It's the texture I'm looking at. The keratin texture. It's not the, you know, because this needs to be detailed somehow. I mean, there's like pelicans grow a similar shaped crest on their beak. I think males grow them during like mating season or something. But I don't know. Let me see. It's like I could detail the crest similar to that, but either way, I'm gonna need some beak detail, you know, all the way down here. So, and I want it to look. I don't want it to look like perfectly smooth. So the beaks of the storks are gonna work well for just general detail. So there's detail that goes vertically on the crest, and then there's detail that kind of goes horizontally too, like these ridges. It's kind of what I'm seeing. So I'm just going to suggest it. I'm not going to go super crazy with the detail here, but we'll see how far we go with it. Looking at these pelican images, though, it's kind of interesting because a lot of their crests are like totally ripped up. But I don't think that they don't have like a bony core to their crest. It just grows out of their beak, so it's pure keratin, I believe. And with Tropeo, there's actually a bony support, so I don't think they would have that kind of tearing. Miguel, hello. Okay. Yeah, we'll just do a bit of cleanup here now that we're at the teeth. Make the drawing look nice, you know? -1. Thanks again for the other donation. He's the best dinosaur game. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Oh, wow. I got so absorbed in, I didn't realize what time it was. Yeah, if you guys have any quick, last questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to start, like, wrapping it up here. Wednesday stream looks like it's still good to go. We'll be working more on Tropeo on the Wednesday stream. Developing the concept arts probably a little bit more, just like refining it and making it presentable, right? I'm trying to think if I want to do a front view. Do I need a front view? Maybe. We might do a front view. And then we'll do like some fur on, we'll copy this like fur stuff over to the other concepts as well. Make sure they're consistent through the whole thing. And then we'll probably, I don't know, we might get into some modeling. Depends on how long that takes. But we're pretty soon, we'll be modeling pretty soon. I'd estimate like next Saturday, we'll probably get into the model. So if you guys want to join back up next Saturday and take a look, you're welcome to. Other than that, there's no other like info that I have. So, let's see. Sorry, I can't say any of that. As far as like estimated arrival, you know. we're trying really hard to get it out as soon as possible. So, yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for keeping me company. I'll see you Wednesday or Saturday. Have a good weekend. Bye.